Greetings, life forms, wherever you're receiving us. This is Justin.
Wolf, and this is Matt.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was barking in the background. My name's Landon Doan.
Yeah, you gotta cut that out, man. I don't know what's got you
Can't
so
help myself.
barky tonight.
Dude, have you seen the moon? It is full as full can be.
You're right about that.
So, I mean, like, keep watching, everybody in the YouTube stream. Who knows what's going to happen? Full moon's out. I could get naked, half naked, full naked. Who knows?
Yeah,
It's not a full moon.
Yes, it is.
we're gonna say it is.
If it keeps your clothes on, it is not a full moon.
Fair enough. Actually, we're going to introduce that to our Patreon whenever that comes out. That's going to be a tier for Landon to keep his clothes on.
You keep saying, oh, okay, well, that's a different angle. I was going to
Yes.
say, you keep talking about the Patreon and the tasteful nudes, and I just think that that's probably discouraging to our listeners. I don't know that they're going to give money for tasteful nudes,
I don't know. Have you seen me?
but they might give money to prevent tasteful nudes.
Possibly. I mean, I did call
Very
myself
true.
the pretty one on this show, so if I say it and it's on the internet, it must be true.
Yeah, that's true. As you can see, I do have the pretty one in studio with me tonight. If you want to call this a studio, I've kind of patched some things together. If you really want a visual of what this is kind of like, think about those little speeders in The Last Jedi that they took out into the salt and were basically falling apart while they drove them. That's what this studio setup is kind of looking like. A lot of duct tape.
Guerrilla podcasting. I like it.
Yeah.
By any means necessary, y'all.
Yeah, but the cool thing is I have a special place now in the big pictures of the video, which is kind of nice.
We now can look
There
at the
you
big
go.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what matters, the big picture,
We were so deep in the forest we couldn't see the trees, or whatever that stupid cliche is.
right? This is episode 79 of Nerd News Cafe, everyone. We did it.
We made
did
it, everybody.
We made it to 79. That's the destination number. It is March the 1st, so happy March.
Yep.
And, you know, another month closer to getting us to, I don't know, Christmas, so Merry Christmas.
Or another month closer to the Infinity Wars, which, speaking of today, that apparently time moves faster when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's true, and we're going to get
Yeah.
to that. But before we do, let's take a quick round the table. I'm really excited to talk about drinks today because in my hand, I hold coffee. And on the YouTube stream, I talk all the time. Actually, it's one of the little taglines. Look at our ugly mugs while we drink from our fancy mugs. And we haven't used mugs. But here's a mug. This is the one I talked about. You heard so much about my monorail mug. Here it is. It's my favorite mug to drink from because it's very big and it's from Disney. Today I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts regular. It's good stuff.
That is a strong drink right there. In addition, strong drink container.
Yeah.
See,
And-
this is why you need to be watching us on YouTube. If you're downloading it in iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast, you're not going to be able to see this crap.
You won't see it. We still appreciate you.
Yes,
But,
no, don't get me wrong. We definitely appreciate it.
yeah. So, yeah, I've got the coffee going tonight. I felt like I needed a boost of energy.
I respect that.
Landon?
I am staying consistent drinking beer, and I am consistently drinking disappointing beer. Coors Light, everybody.
Yeah.
Get into it, I guess.
Get into it. Matt, what have you got going on?
Oh, you know, just a sweet tea product placement.
We are open to sponsorships, Chick-fil-A. We don't podcast on Sundays either, so we're practically the Chick-fil-A of podcast. Wait,
That's right.
We used to podcast on Sundays.
Not no
We
mo.
changed our policy. Now we're like the
That's right.
Chick-fil-A that's located in the new Megatron's butthole. So if you go to an Atlanta Falcons football game, there's a giant Chick-fil-A, but you can't eat there.
nope. Because when do they play football games generally?
Typically Sundays.
Oh, yeah, and what's that day that Chick-fil-A generally isn't open?
I think it's Sunday. Not like delicious Chick-fil-A because you won't be having any of that.
No.
Not today.
Really questionable planning when they built that.
It was very strange.
And,
yeah.
And when you call it Megatron's butthole, I mean, that is definitely
It's
a questionable
pretty-
part too. But you do have to ask, why did they invest in a Chick-fil-A? If it, like, wasn't it open for like one game last year? And
I
it was
think
it was a bowl game or something.
Yeah, I think it was like the kickoff classic for college football or something. The Peach Filet Chick. So it had to be open for
Yep.
the Chick-fil-A kickoff.
Let's say they're
classic.
open for college.
Welcome to Sports Talk, everybody.
Is there a college that plays there? Not Georgia Tech, but
No, there isn't a college team that makes that their home, but I mean, it does host bowl games and
yeah,
stuff like that. And
Well,
kickoff
there are
games,
other
yeah.
NFL stadiums that do share with college teams, and I
Yeah,
always
Pittsburgh-
think, God, that's such a ripoff. That's just not fair.
Oh,
they get NFL stadiums for the college team, but Neyland Stadium's no slouch, but still.
Well, speaking of Neyland Stadium and questionable turf, Pittsburgh, the Panthers and Steelers share a field, and a lot of and Pittsburgh is notorious for having a terrible field.
Well, We've been there too.
Yeah, Scovilles.
Nice. Didn't even realize.
Yeah, Lady Vols were up
Stay golden.
by 1 with 4 minutes
golden.
left. So
Oh yeah, the women's tournament's going on right
yeah.
now.
Shout out to Rick Barnes, by the way. I know you're not the Lady Vols coach, but you're kicking ass.
Oh, speaking of current sporting events, if we're going to talk about that, here's something probably a little more significant. Did you guys watch any Olympics at all?
Negative.
Nope.
I did. Okay. I will tell you, I've heard people complain a lot about NBC's coverage of the Olympics, that it just wasn't very good. And you have to understand, too, that the time zones caused a lot of issues with us being able to watch things live since it was in Korea. But I used the app, and so I was watching everything kind of in arrears on replays on the NBC app. So I was able to watch really anything I wanted to. So I got to watch my favorite stuff, which was like the slope style snowboarding, bobsled, the luge, that kind of thing. And I don't think I'm in the minority. Well, maybe I am. I like watching curling. I really enjoy
Yeah,
curling.
curling is one of those things. It's like everybody is a closet curling fan.
I
not,
really
not just
enjoy
a
it.
fan, a fanatic. People lose their minds over curling.
Yeah, and so I did watch the USA win the gold in curling, and that was kind of extra special sweet because USA, the mixed team, the men's and the women's, they looked awful starting out in curling, and it just looked like Sweden was going to run roughshod over everybody. So the fact that they were able to win that gold was pretty sweet, and beating Canada in the semifinals was pretty nice. So
Yeah.
and then
North American dominance right here. We're coming next for you, Mexico.
yeah, the women won the gold in hockey over Canada, so that was pretty nice. So.
Well, speaking on hockey, it's like I didn't watch any of the Olympics, and part of the reason was because the NHL, their players are still playing in the NHL, and here locally we have a really damn good hockey team, so I'm going to watch that.
You're talking Predators or Ice Bears?
Both.
Yeah, they're both pretty good. So, Matt, are you pro or con curling?
I treat the Olympics like a sports amnesia. Like I care for the 10 seconds that whatever goes on that NBC chooses to show me, and at that point I'm just like, yep, don't care, won't remember your name tomorrow. So
Yeah, fair enough.
it's kind of like a one night stand of sports.
That just happens every 4 years, and for 2
I'm
weeks
really
at a time.
excited, I'm having a good time, and then the climax, and then I don't know your name anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, it sounds like you've been to Olympic Village, Matt.
I have
Right.
not. I think I'm banned from Olympic Village, but
Seriously, the stories coming out of Olympic Village, it's just like nothing but world-class athletes hooking up, making
Yeah.
like super athlete babies that are
It's
going to
just-
take us over in like 15 years.
Right. Exactly.
That's how we
they're
get more
making little-
athletes. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
not fair.
Yeah, it is. It's little Michael Phelps that are going to be born in a couple.
No, there's thousands
several
of them. I
months.
would
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway,
They can hold their breath for a long time and take bong rips at the same time, allegedly.
right.
Alleged.
And then he had to apologize for it.
You think he'll come out of his own tobacco glassware company?
Good.
Hey, Willie Nelson's making money doing it. Why
Well,
not?
he could make them that look like snorkels or something, like tied into.
Oh
swim.
my gosh, that would be the best.
Yeah. Michael Phelps snorkel
Oh,
bombs.
or a
we need to
face
make-
mask. Fish bowling.
Oh my God! Yeah, one of those. Jeez, right up until we get sued for stealing his likeness, we're gonna make so much money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be great. Coming
Make
soon.
one look like an old diver's helmet.
And hopefully we could negotiate it to where when we have to go to court, it'll be the same day we have to go face Donald Glover for creeping on him.
We could do that.
Oh.
And then also, like, Kevin Hart will be waiting outside the courtroom to punch us all in the balls
Yep.
as we walk out.
You'll never
Because that's
see
about
him,
his
though.
height.
I mean, if a dog walks in front of him, he's hid. I mean, I don't know what
Well,
we need to
he'll
do.
pop up out of nowhere.
Terrifying.
Punch us right
It's
in
like
the balls.
it's like hiding from David the Gnome, I mean, I don't know how you would do it.
That's the most David the Gnome has been mentioned on the internet in years. I
Does
guarantee
anyone know what David the Gnome
trying
is
to get him
anymore? I
trending.
would love to know.
Hashtag David the Gnome. Let's get it going in the chat.
Okay.
Hashtag David the Gnome.
To all of our no viewers.
Yeah.
They're my mom's watching. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Guys, I think we should check the Black Panther scoreboard.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we should start strong. So, Black Panther is now up to $763 million internationally. If you want to compare that back to where 2017 movies landed, that puts it above Coco, but just below Pirates Dead Men Tell No Tales, which was at $794 million internationally. So, it's going to pass it, no doubt. This movie, do you think it makes $1 billion? I think it will.
I think it might make $1 billion within a month.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 2 weeks to it being released, so it still has 2 more months before it would have to worry about the month, and it's like it's already like 75% of the way there.
The big question is, has it been released in China yet? Do we know? I don't know.
That's I can look if you would. If you want me to.
We'll just say it
check
hasn't been,
on
so just
that.
wait.
Why not?
It's going to blow up.
But I mean, like, there's just something about this movie. It's like I don't know about your movie like experience going to see it. It's like I didn't get a chance to go see it on opening night because there were just straight up no tickets together. Like, this is the first time in years that I've been to a movie theater where like Fandangoing it or pre-purchasing your tickets was a must, because like and it wasn't just me. It's like other podcasts I listened to, people on that, they were saying the exact same thing. It's like everybody is seeing this movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, you live in kind of a bigger metropolitan area. Like I've never had any issue finding tickets if I do Fandango and try to pick my seats like in the RPX or something. Like I don't have any issue here going opening night. I didn't because I was that weekend is when I got the flu. So I still haven't gotten to see it yet. But actually, we're talking maybe we'll do that this weekend. So.
You need to go see it. It's really good.
Yeah.
You too.
No China release.
No China release yet, or it's.
I don't see it on the docket here, so I don't think it's going to get one.
I would be stunned if it wasn't released in China, because China is one of the biggest movie markets in the world right now.
Are there ghosts in it?
Yes, actually. Well, it's kind of a ghost. It's kind of like a spirit vision. I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, but I do know.
I was going to say.
I do know Chinese culture.
Japan's not on here, so that's what tipped me off that there may be ghosts in it. And if there's ghosts, there's no Chinese or Japanese releases.
Or Milk Carton or Dolly Parton. But speaking of big releases, you mentioned it at the top of the show. So there was a big announcement today. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Marvel had teased that there was going to be an announcement today, and it did come out. Apparently, Mr. Tony Stark wanted this movie, Infinity Wars, is what I'm talking about, to come out a little earlier. And whatever Mr. Stark wants, Mr. Stark gets.
Marvel Studios said that on Twitter.
Yeah. So actually, Infinity Wars moved from May the 4th, which I appreciate because that's Star Wars Day, back to April 27th. So, which it was interesting because we were talking about this. Had it stayed in May, May was going to be a huge movie month because not only would it have Infinity Wars, it was also going to have Solo at the end of the month. So this kind of adds a little bit of time in between. You said you had a theory about why this moved back, so I wanted to let you talk about that.
It's not a theory why it got moved up, but it's more in how it was announced online. Like you were talking, it's like Robert Downey Jr. is playing his Tony Stark character, talking to Marvel, blah, blah, blah. And then Marvel Studios, and this is their official Twitter feed, Marvel Studios with the check, verified, whatever, they said that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic in all caps. And in the shot of the poster they released with this tweet, I'm going to show Jay here live. Doesn't it kind of look like a 4?
Yeah, I mean, you guys could look at this, and it's an A, right? It's a capital A, but
yeah, it's the Avengers symbol. But I mean, like in that shot, the way, like with the poster, or it kind of looks like a 4.
Are you reading too much into this?
Oh, I absolutely am. Yes, we have a podcast. This is what idiots like me do. And it's like, I'm not saying it's going to open and be like, hey, look, there's the Fantastic Car, and the Fantastic Four falls out of the hole in the sky. And it's like, but I've said it on this podcast. I think at least Mr. Fantastic shows up at the end of Infinity Wars 2. And I don't know, like, it could be nothing, but at the same time, Marvel did this for a reason, I think. It's like, oh, yeah, it's a fantastic idea, but the fact that fantastic is all caps is like, clip the mic, sorry about that. But I don't know. It's like, and I saw some other people kind of like mentioning this, so it's like, if it was just me by myself and I made up a stupid internet rumor, sure, whatever, dismiss me. Maybe you can dismiss me anyway, but it's like, I'm not saying there's smoke, but I kind of feel like there might. I'm starting to smell smoke, so it could be that, or I could be having a stroke, one of the two.
Does it smell like toast?
How hard would that secret be that is somebody's cast as any of the Fantastic Four to hang on to, though?
Oh, that would be very hard, and I did think that when I was putting that up, but at the same time, it's like, do you want to mess with Disney if you sign a non-disclosure anything? Like if any of the companies in the world, I do not want to mess with Disney because they will lawyer your ass to death.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but there's a grip out there that's got a gambling problem that I can see really leaking.
That
this.
is true.
Somebody has some debts. They might be flippable. Yeah.
Or it could be like that entertainment reporter a few weeks ago who's getting out of the game, so he's in don't give a F mode and burning bridges.
Just dropping the knowledge.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care. By the way, Thanos is actually 7 cats. So, spoiler alert.
7 cats.
They're big space cats, but I mean cats nonetheless.
As long as they're not porgs, I'm cool with it.
There's a penguin in there.
Yeah. a little pingy. And Morgan Freeman's going to voice over.
But listeners, do you think I'm completely on crack with this theory? Let me know.
Yeah, I mean, you could be chatting with us live and weighing in on such theories.
What is happening?
Yeah. So that's interesting, though. I mean, you typically don't see movies getting pushed forward in time.
Yeah,
it's usually pushed back.
And it's like, oh, crap. But it's like, it moved up a whole week.
Yeah.
Like, we're now less than 2 months away from Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, is there been any big movies in April, though, ever? I mean, I know
I'm
we
sure
probably
there
don't
has
have
been.
any
I have no
kind of
idea.
visual on that.
Let me do a quick gaggle search.
Yeah, that's something we could Google, but yeah, I mean,
But I mean, up
You're
until
asking me to remember
recently, I
something.
mean, generally February was a dumping ground. So was January. But in the last few years, Deadpool was released in February.
Yeah.
That cleaned up. Get Out was released like the first week of January last year. And,
Right.
and oh, by the way, Black Panther.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
when did Lego Batman come out last year? Was that
I want to say it was early, like February.
it was because I ended up thinking it was the year before that it came out.
Yeah, because it was so close. You kind of left it out of your list.
Yeah, we were talking about best of 2017, and I was like, Lego Batman was 2016. That was so last year.
February 10th of last year.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
February
Pretty early.
has had some pretty
Very early.
heavy hitters.
So I mean, just one of the draws of it is to be the #1 movie in April forever, because no one's ever going to release anything in April. And I know X-Men are continuously dropped in May. It seems like I don't think I can't think of a X-Men movie that hasn't been in May or even early June, but.
Landon has
Yeah,
a look
May
of a
is
man who has
nasty.
found a list.
Yeah, there's a handful of movies that have come out in April.
Okay.
This is from Box Office Mojo. This is their list of biggest April openings, like Furious 7.
Interesting.
That came out. The Jungle Book came out in April. Winter Soldier came out in April.
Ooh, yeah.
But I mean,
That's
past
one.
that, it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
Anger Management, Clash of the Titans, Scary Movie 4, both Rio movies. Does that do anything for you? So, I mean, like, at the top, there are some big
there's a few.
movies. But, I mean, yeah, generally, it's like, you want to save those big tentpole movies for later in the summer when, kids are off of school and everybody's taking vacation and stuff like that.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, but let's not pretend that this movie will not go the month of May. I mean,
it
it's
will.
going to get released late April. I mean, it may fall out of theaters mid-June, maybe.
I even feel like that would be early because I remember the original
Yep.
Avengers movie. That thing was in theaters forever.
Yeah.
It's probably why it's 1 billion on the list too.
Yeah, that
It's
was
true.
great.
You put it out there long enough, it's going to make some money because people are going to keep going. It's actually, if you guys check the listings for our local dollar theater, Justice League is still in the theater here, so
All right.
it's still trying to scrape in some rupees.
You know what? I would pay $1 to see Justice League
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I still haven't
$2.50.
seen it actually, so I mean, I feel like I might need to turn in my nerd card at this
I mean,
point,
You're
but
part of the problem.
Just to give you that experience.
But I did.
You know-
I said early on that I looked at it as a BVS sequel, and I was nervous about that, and so that's why I was very trepidatious about Justice League.
Yeah.
So, but you guys have told me enough that I should go see it, and I just haven't. So
I mean, it ain't Citizen Kane, but it's good.
it's a movie with superheroes.
I was about to say it's a good Superman.
Yeah, yeah.
How
it's-
can I
it's-
sit here in front of this podcasting mic and tell you that I haven't gone to see Justice League? That just seems like a shame, right?
You're not a Batfleck guy though, so
I'm not a bad.
and there's a lot of people that don't, that I could see kind of like, I don't want to see an old Batman and I don't want to see an old Batfleck man.
Yeah, some stupid dorks made signs about the Batfleck, so, whatever.
Did you see? Well, I'll save that to rumor mill.
Okay. I meant to get to this right after Black Panther. I drew myself an arrow. I didn't do it anyway.
Planning.
I know. It's really awful. Oscars this Sunday. Oscars 2018 coming up this Sunday. First of all, do you all ever watch the Oscars? Matt rolled his eyes, so I'm assuming you don't. You're not a big Oscars guy. Do you watch
I'll tune in towards the end of the show because I want to see
Like Best Picture?
Yeah, Best Picture, all those big ones. But if I
I've
forget
seen white
about it,
people get awards before.
jeez.
Ooh, Oscars so white.
Yeah, though this year I'm hoping that a movie I mentioned previously, Get Out, wins Best Picture because
up.
I saw Get Out. That was a movie experience I have not
It's-
felt.
It's awesome
before.
Yeah, it's really good.
Not only was it a good movie, the dialogue was great. Like it made me like. I'll say it again. Like I can't think of another movie that gave me the same feeling and the same viewing experience as I did watching Get Out. Like.
Yeah.
Again, the story was great, but it's like like the hair on my arm is standing up just
got
talking
goosebumps
about
right
it.
now talking about it. Yeah.
But I am interested to see if Get Out can win because I love Jordan Peele as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Oh yeah, those guys are amazing, and they're still doing stuff. I think or Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key. Yeah, both those guys are still doing stuff, but I think Jordan stepped away from acting altogether.
There's actually a funny story about that. His agent called and said, "Hey, you've been offered a part in the Emoji Movie." He's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, all right, what's the part?" It was the poop emoji. Poop. And he said, "Let me think about this, and I'll call you back tomorrow." So he thought about it that night, and he called his agent. Agent's like, "Hey, I got some bad news. They offered it to Patrick Stewart." So Jordan Peele said, "First, I was pissed because they gave me the poop emoji role. And then I don't know if I was more mad that they gave it to Patrick Stewart, so that convinced me to quit acting." And he said he's done acting. He's just going to do stuff behind the scenes. And it's like, he wrote
And we're all
and
for it.
directed Get Out. It's like, do more. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where on the flip side, Keegan-Michael Key is like in every commercial.
He's
Hey,
in commercials. He's in lots of movies too.
hey, you got to get paid, dude.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like seeing him on the screen, but I like seeing Jordan Peele on the screen. But you're right. I like him working behind the scenes.
Jordan Peele, and I think another podcast that me and Justin listen to is they had him on there. His dream project was a horror movie. That's what he wanted to write and direct. And I know they were doing him and Michael Keegan. His name just kills me. I can't say it all the time. But it's a great thing that I remember it. But anyway, he was talking about they were filming. Was it Kenan or what was the cat movie?
Oh, Keanu.
Keanu, yeah. That's
Keanu.
right. Mhm.
I don't know how I wouldn't remember that. He filmed Keanu or whatever, and he's like, my dream is to do a horror movie. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but my dream is to do that. So I guess,
He's like, I'll just do it myself.
he put all that passion into it. Hopefully his next creations thereof will be more passionate.
Yeah, right.
I mean, not a bad out of the gate project.
Well, it's one of those where, gosh, you've set the bar awfully high.
I was thinking that too, yeah.
Because what a movie that was unique and had a vision and a voice, and it's one of those. It's an experience to watch that movie.
Like that scene where the I guess it was the yard hand, and the main character is going out at night, and he's just sitting on the porch, and then you see in the distance the farmhand just running, dead sprint, full speed. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What is going on? Oh God, here he comes! And then he runs the other way.
Yeah.
Ugh. Such a good movie. And
was
plus,
good.
it's like, how cool would it be if a horror movie won Best Picture? Because this is
awesome.
a horror movie.
You don't see that kind of thing.
No.
do you?
True.
Yeah. A couple other things I wanted to mention. One of the movies, I remember when we saw it, I think it might have come out of San Diego Comic-Con or one of the conventions when they started showing the teasers for The Shape of Water. It's up for Best Picture and for Best Director.
I believe Octavia Jackson also pulled a Best Supporting Actress nomination as well.
Yeah, so that one's pretty crazy. Like you said, Get Out up for Best Picture, but it's also up for Best Original Screenplay. Logan's up for Best Adapted Screenplay, which I love to see.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that was one of my favorite movies of last year, and I like to see it getting some love.
And again, that was
The last time that I felt some emotion in a movie, I'll tell you that.
and that's another movie that was dumped very early in the year.
Yeah, it was. The other cool thing is Blade Runner 2049 is nominated for cinematography and visual effects, both. So,
Yep.
not a surprise, but
A lot of people are kind of, I don't want to say butthurt, but I will, about Blade Runner 2049 not being nominated for Best Overall Picture.
yeah, it's tough.
I don't think it had the following.
Well, movies like this, so movies that our people really enjoy typically don't get nominated for Best Picture. Where you saw it was like Return of the King, Lord of the Rings, and it won, I think, didn't it? I think
I
Return
believe
of the King
so,
did.
yeah.
But
Did
that
you get
was
it for Fellowship?
no, I don't think it did.
I think it got some technical awards, but not
Yeah.
Best Picture.
Yeah, and the reason
Technical
people say about like that Return of the King ended up winning is because it was almost like the culmination of everything that James Cameron had done to that point, and so it was more of a payoff.
James Cameron.
What did I say? James Cameron?
Yeah. You mean Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson. That's the one I meant. But you
made its motto.
typically don't see. I know what's the difference. But you
Yeah,
typically-
Guillermo
They're all
del Toro did
making
a great
epics.
job in Lord of the Rings.
yeah. We're
Is
not
Andy
known for
Serkis
getting our
up for
facts
anything?
right in here.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know if Andy Serkis is nominated. Do we know if Doug Jones from Shape of Water is nominated? Because he's the one that plays the fish monster.
That I don't know
Everything?
either. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. The
What's-
creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, and this kind of is a creature from the Black Lagoon, and Guillermo del Toro grew up loving this movie, and he said, it's like, I always thought this movie should have been a romance story. And again, like going back to Jordan Peele being like, screw it, I'm going to write it myself. Guillermo del Toro's like, well, I don't think anybody else is going to make this movie, so I am.
Yeah, I'll take it. So
That's pretty cool. I swear I thought I saw Andy Serkis was up for his Caesar role, but maybe that was last year. I don't watch these things.
That
so.
would be well deserved. I mean, like, you have to give something to the War for the Planet of the Apes because, I mean, like, they don't use any real monkeys, but watching it, you would not believe it. It's like, obviously, some of these, some of what you're seeing is clearly CG, but it's like, I'd be like, yeah, that's a real monkey. Like, you need to see that movie if you haven't. And I'm talking to everybody out there, too.
yeah, I haven't seen, actually, another admission, I haven't seen any of the new Planet of the Apes movies.
Well, as soon as I get my DVDs back from Hunter, because I'm fixing that problem with him, I'll fix that problem with you.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a blind spot for me. I realize that because they're everything you've told me, and you're not the only person, that these are really good movies. It's a really good franchise.
It's the best trilogy put out in the last decade, I'd
Yeah,
say.
so I'm gonna get on top of that. I'll get there. I promise.
Get there.
I wanted to talk comics for a minute. We haven't talked comics in a little while, so I wanted to bring up a couple of things. Coming out of the Batman Metal series, one of the premieres this week, it's out this week from DC, is a comic called The Terrifics. So these are characters that have been around for a little while, and they're getting back to getting their own series. People compare it to the Fantastic Four, and they're kind of inspired by the Fantastic Four a little bit. They're kind of flawed characters that kind of have a family dynamic. Some people are excited about that, but I Landon, when I think about historical comics and things like that, I always defer to Landon. I'm like, what do you know about this? And he said he never really got into the Terrifics, but I do have something you're going to be excited about.
Okay, good.
The other thing that's coming out this week, Lockjaw #1.
Ah, yes, Lockjaw.
Yeah.
Literally the only thing we were okay with in the Inhumans.
Yeah, exactly. and if you read anything about the comics that are coming out this week, that's pretty much what people are saying. No one cares about the Inhumans, but
Yeah,
Lockjaw.
yeah, pretty much. Like
So-
if now that Marvel Cinematic Universe can use mutants again, I'm wondering if that whole Inhumans idea is just gonna be like, yeah, that never happened. Can you pull up the rug? We're gonna sweep it away and take your teleporting bulldog.
Yeah, we'll take this. You can take everything else, but
If we could just scrap this project and keep the dog.
right.
Yeah, everybody loves dogs.
So
And talking on Batman Metal, it's like I'm very interested in that storyline, but I don't have the money to drop it on individual issues. So I'm very much looking forward to when it's released in a trade paperback
Yeah.
form because I mean that sounds like such a cool story, and the art they've been putting out for it is metal.
yeah.
I thought we were going to get an anime of it. I thought I saw Netflix had picked up an anime or not. I need to check in that for you.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I would definitely be for that.
I would consume it that way.
And DC Animation has yet to put out a bad movie.
Yeah, DC Animation.
Very true.
Give us more Justice League, please.
Yeah. They have consistently done a good job with their animated films. And it makes me just openly question, like, how is it that they have this kind of vision and can create such a nice product in the animated world, and it hasn't always been able to translate to live action.
Yeah.
But it's a different medium. I realize maybe some of this stuff just works better animated, and that's fine. Speaking of animated, I want more Castlevania, darn it.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. It's been over a year since it dropped, right?
I feel like it's time for more.
Yeah.
I want to watch 75% of another season and stop at the end.
I want to tell you about a discovery that I made. Speaking of Castlevania, I was looking up, always checking the news feeds for Assassin's Creed news. Always searching, always looking like the eagle in the game.
Always watching, Wazowski.
Always watching. But I looked it up and I saw that the guy that's doing it said it's going to be like Castlevania. Netflix has picked it up. It's going to be on there. But he did this short film. I had never heard. Have you guys ever heard of Punisher Dirty Laundry?
I have not.
It's a short film that stars Thomas Jane at reprising his role as the Punisher. And this guy put it out that's doing the Assassin's Creed thing. And I was like, what is this? I need to find this. Because I never knew Thomas Jane did anything beyond the one Punisher movie, but he did a short film, evidently.
And Thomas Jane was good as the Punisher. I thought,
I
at
like-
least.
A lot of people not wild about it, but I think it was it wasn't as dark as the Dolph Lundgren or Warzone. it was a little bit lighter, like
Oh yes,
like you accused Josh Whedon of. So
I will admit I prefer Warzone to the original Punisher because I felt like it wasn't really the Punisher until the final 15 minutes of the movie where he's like, all right, I'm just going to go murder everything, like the Punisher does. So
Yeah, Punisher doing Punisher things.
yeah. So I liked Warzone, but I could see the guy they got to play Warzone being an old Thomas Jane, because that guy looked grizzled. I mean, he looked like he had seen some stuff.
Mm-hmm. And Thomas Jane apparently was a big fan of the Punisher role. Like he was originally attached to Warzone, but he had to bow out just because the production went on and on and on before it actually finally got started shooting. He had to bow out because he had another role at that point.
I could see Punisher being a really fun role to play.
And I mean, Travolta, was that a good idea?
No, it wasn't, as it turns out.
So we put something out on Twitter today, and we got a response from Eric on this one. So this is from The Verge. This isn't like breaking news or anything. It's just kind of interesting. Apparently, Baby Groot that you see in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it's not Groot. It's Groot's son, quote unquote, according to James Gunn. So first of all, and I think even the tweet said something like, does it really matter? It doesn't, but here's the thing. I don't even think you should call it.
Me.
Well, to me, it doesn't so much, but I didn't really think of this as being Groot, but it's kind of like anything that reproduces asexually. Like, say you cut a sponge in half or something. Like, does that really make it that's the sponge's son? Like, I don't really think of it that way.
True.
You know, so I don't think the characterization's exactly right, but he said, there's a reason that this teen Groot that we've seen like at the end of the movie, he has a different attitude. He's like dumber than Groot was, and he seems different. I don't know. I don't really care, but I think it's kind of silly to call it Groot's son.
Yeah, I mean, calling him Groot's son is dumb, but I'm gonna say this kind of like opened my eyes a little bit, because one of the knocks on the Marvel Cinematic Universe up until recently, spoiler alert for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, there hasn't been a major death in a Marvel Cinematic Universe on the hero side, at least. And if we realize that Baby Groot wasn't Groot, and Groot literally sacrificed himself at the end of the first Guardians.
Exactly.
I mean, that would be like,
it makes his death worth more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what Eric Lehman said, too. He's like, you rewatch Guardians of the Galaxy, and I like to call it Volume 1 now, even though it wasn't called that at the time. But it does make it more emotional to see that.
I mean, it really does. It gives a whole new meaning to the "we are Groot" scene. It's like, oh, no.
Yeah. The other question I have about that, though, is, he made himself this big wooden sphere, and and then they crashed, and it saved his friends, and Groot was dead at that point. If Rocket could pick up a twig and plant it and grow another Groot, what about all those other twigs? Are there hundreds of thousands of Groots that were created at that point?
That's a fair question.
On the Nova home planet?
That's what's going to show up at the end of Infinity Wars Volume 2, just Groots as far as the eye can see.
Groots. It's possible.
I think it can be his son in the sense that that's how he reproduces, I guess.
I mean, I suppose. But also, why now? Like, why?
Somebody just randomly asked him.
Really?
It was a Twitter thing that came out. If you read the article that I posted, there's several thousand of them, because evidently it was the hottest thing in news right now.
It is.
But James Gunn is like, he's talking about some other project, and he says, it's kind of like Groot's death. And they're like, whoa.
Yeah, wait a second.
Who's dead?
Hold up.
Yeah, and he was like, well, Groot, the original Groot died, and this is the son. And from there it just went on, and then people on Twitter are like, no, this isn't true.
Yeah, I saw some really upset people on Twitter about this.
People are like,
panties in a wad.
One person was like, I'm glad everything you say is canon. He goes, it's canon because I say it's canon.
That's the story he created.
Because I wrote it.
He wrote it, exactly.
I also saw him put out on Twitter, somebody's like, I don't care what James Gunn said. That doesn't make it true. He's like, stop Groot-splaining everything. Just shut up. I love James Gunn.
Yeah.
I think it makes, I'm with you, Landon's exact words, it makes that death so worth it now. Like,
it was a death.
Everything.
It was a sacrifice. True sacrifice.
He didn't get better. He died.
Yeah.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad enough as it is. Listen, I don't need more reasons to get teary during movies. I really don't.
Have you hit that age where it's like if a Coke commercial hits you the right way, you're just a mess?
I don't know what you mean by have you hit that age, because it's been that way for me for a long, long time. Listen, I'm a sensitive man, okay, and I don't mind admitting that. And there's a reason that I have not gone. My wife and son went to see Coco in the theater. I didn't do it because I heard that movie will make you cry several times. I don't need to be crying in public. I just don't.
My wife did some crying in that. My wife.
I need to see that movie.
It's really good.
It's really good. From what I
I really kind of hate myself that I didn't get to see it in theaters, because I mean it's like Pixar is still one of those movie theaters. Whenever they put anything out, like the way to take it in is like big giant screen.
Yeah. Well, it's still at our dollar theater.
Hot dog.
Yeah, so along with Justice League, do a double feature.
And Pitch Perfect 3.
You might want to reconsider the 250 theater over there. I mean,
it's $250.
why don't you
man.
just get a TV, a big TV, trash your house up, pour syrup on the floor,
Yeah, that floor is
get
sticky.
kind of an odor that you can't describe in the room, tear the seat up, and it's the same as that theater. Or wait, we need 2 screaming children all times, every show.
Unsupervised, running up and down the
Up
aisle.
and down the aisles,
Unsupervised.
yeah. It's like, it's 9 o'clock. Where are their parents? But that feels way more expensive than just $250, Matt.
Maybe. I
Stick
think
it
you
in your
should wait
cinnamon
for
disc
Blu-ray.
hole.
Pay the $9.99. Get that HD fired up.
Back to the cinnamon discs.
Never going to give it up.
It's real.
No, it's not.
Real.
I sent you a picture.
Oh, yeah, you found it on the internet. Must be true.
Speaking of
It's at
something,
Kroger.
I'm
Guess
I'm
what you're getting
segueing here.
Christmas.
Let me get on my segue.
It'll be more than whatever you got me this year, jackass.
God damn it! It is like herding cats
Yes.
around here. Listen, I was trying to say, speaking of things that you wanted to exist, I don't know, I lost my segue now, but Matt, I'm trying to tee this up for you to talk about. Dark Tower and Wheel of Time series on Amazon, under development. We're finally getting it.
We're finally getting it. For Dark Tower fans, I heard, they're excited because they already have an iteration of their books put into film that they weren't happy with.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time has just been this sad child at the orphanage. It's this huge saga of books. They're right up here. Right up here.
Nerd.
And it's so good. It's so rich with characters and there's so much going on. There's no way you could do a movie. If you did a movie, you're an idiot because you'll never get through.
You're an idiot.
Never. You're an idiot. But the problem is it can go so bad, so fast. And Amazon, they're okay, but I think I watched maybe 3 shows on there. So, and this, I just got finished watching Electric Dreams, which is an adaptation of Philip K. Dick stories. Well, they took some privileges. They really thought about it and said, I don't like the way this is written. Let's just do something completely different. So there's maybe 1 story, maybe 2 that are close to the original, and the rest of them are just insane different with the same kind of moral.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see what we get. I mean, anything's better than nothing at this point for, Wheel of Time. I mean, the last thing we got was a 2 a.m. release on FXX
That's
with
right.
For the
Billy
pilot.
Zane.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea what we're. Actually, it was the preface of the first book, just in case anyone cares or looks it up. And it was really weird. It looked like a soap opera. I don't know. What's the Spanish soap opera? Telemundo, or I don't even know what it is.
Telemundo.
Yeah, so it's what it looked like. But I'd like to see something. I mean, something developed, something given, so at least it's out there. And maybe if it's not good, there'll be another iteration. So.
Well, and I obviously haven't read either of those series, but I do think it's a step in the right direction. Like you mentioned, it's a series as opposed to a movie, because we saw how well The Dark Tower did when they tried to cram that into a movie. Yeah. So, and I don't know, take a swing with it. And like Matt said, if it doesn't work, they'll just do it again and do it again and do it again until they finally get it right, or people stop caring, one of the two.
So I didn't see this in the article. Maybe I just missed it. Is the Dark Tower series going to be like a unique story? Like they're not going to try to tell the story in the books. It's going to be like what they did with the movie, right? It's something different, or do we know?
No,
Oh, I don't know that.
From what I understand, it's supposed to be from the books.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if it says adapted, and you know what adapted means. So
Yeah. But Wheel of Time, I think it is the right way to do it as a series because it does feel a little huge. I mean, I think that if they tried to do it as a film series, that first of all, it's going to get compared to the Lord of the Rings.
That's literally what I was just thinking in my head.
And
probably Game of Thrones because of so many characters and so many.
Well, as a series, certainly
insanity.
It's going to, yeah. But I think that it gives them the room that they need to be able to tell the stories, and it'll be probably easier for me to consume because I still am somewhere in the middle of the first Wheel of Time book, Robert Jordan, and yeah, I think I'm pretty excited to see it. It's like for me, some things are like I couldn't have read the Game of Thrones books cold. I think it's probably just because I don't do a lot of reading of novels, and so that's a huge undertaking, that many characters, that many storylines, all that going on in a fantasy world where I have to learn all these new geographies and
the like ruling structure of these new geographies and the religions of these new homes.
It's a lot of world to consume.
It is.
So for me, like I think now I might be able to go back and read like A Song of Fire and Ice and be able to follow it, but maybe.
I tried to read the second book from like before season 2 of Game of Thrones came out. No, hard pass for me. George R. R. Martin, just let HBO take care of it. It's cool.
Could not make it through the second chapter for me on the first book. It droned, and I was like, this is not moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I read sagas all the time, and that one for me just did not move the needle. I was like, ooh.
That's interesting. So, but Wheel of Time, like they're page turners for you. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I struggle, but like I said, I'm not a reader.
Yeah, 0 pictures, so there is no way I'm going to read that.
I'm saving my I told you I picked up Philip K. Dick, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
You did?
I've read the first chapter, but I am kind of saving it for spring break because it's not that big of a book. It's like 200 and something pages.
Yeah, you can kill that in a week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take it on that trip, but I'm excited to read that.
And look at all y'all talking about nerds. Does somebody have a pile of books I can smack out of your hands?
I started to read the guy who wrote, is it Ernest Cline that wrote Ready Player One?
Yeah. Right.
He's got another book called Armada.
Armada, yeah.
And it doesn't sound like a bad story. It's basically a guy that loves science fiction. He loves that world, and one day he sees a UFO, and his life changes. So I don't know what it's about, but it sounds pretty fun, and I like the way the guy writes. The problem is the price on the book is still pretty up there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about picking up Armada actually as my second book of this year, but something about it felt there are pieces of it that I think are going to be very similar to Ready Player One because it's someone he's going to be in kind of a almost like controlling. To me, it looked like a spaceship from like a game cabinet kind of thing.
Okay.
So it could be interesting, and maybe if people were here live, they could tell me if they've read Armada and what their thoughts of it were.
Again, take the hint.
Yeah, but yeah, I know what you meant.
Tragic.
Like, it looks interesting, but I wanted something a little bit different. So, but I think I'm finding a good niche for me in this kind of sci-fi storytelling. I think the Philip K. Dick thing's going to be good for me.
Cool.
I've read 3 short story collections of his, and he's an amazing writer. He is definitely, no matter how boring the story is, because don't get me wrong, not every short story you turn out is a gold nugget, but the way he writes it gets you involved. It's like, okay, I care about this character. I have no skin in the game for what happens to them, but I do care where it goes. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. What are you going to read?
The internet.
Okay.
Does that count?
BuzzFeed.
That does count.
I'm going to read twitter.com.
All right, guys.
That's an angry website, by the way, Twitter. Everybody's just pissed all the time.
It really is. It's an angry place.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to the rumor mill. I like wrapping up or what have I been calling it? Gossip corner or something?
Something like that. You know, I don't listen to this show.
That's true. I shouldn't expect anything different. But so a couple of things. I know, Matt, you had something. I want to kick off with something really quick. So because this is pretty timely because it's going to get answered within a week. But there are early reports about the novelization of The Last Jedi that on the first page, in the first sentence, that The Last Jedi actually confirms that Luke was married.
What?
Yeah. It says something about...
I saw that. I didn't read the article.
It says the people that have seen it say that the very first sentence of the Last Jedi novelization says something about Luke standing on the cold sand of Tatooine with his wife. So...
Wow. How did that not make it to the movie? I really felt like that would be an important point to let people know about.
Yeah, it opens a lot of questions, and if it's really true, are they going to tell in the novelization what happened in that relationship, where she went? Who was she? Was it Mara Jade?
Oh, that'd be super cool if it was Mara Jade.
It would be cool, but
is Mara Jade still considered canon or
no?
Just,
she's legend, but
what if it was what's her name that killed herself?
What's her name that killed herself? Who killed herself?
I can't remember her name. It was Leia's friend there.
Laura Dern.
Whatever her character was.
Holdo, yeah.
I don't think he was married to Holdo. It's possible, I guess.
Hodor.
She's old enough. They're all old enough.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, it's
Maybe
possible.
he likes them older.
It's possible.
I'm just afraid that this is going to open up to be like, yeah, you remember how Rey's parents weren't Luke? Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
This sounds like the theology debates I always hear about. What is it, Jesus and his wife? I mean, that we're right back to it. We just put it in a fantasy land now. I'm like, guys,
Except
not everyone's married.
And except this Jesus has a lightning sword and can push people with his mind, so that's cool.
Look, he's married to the game. He don't need no.
He's married to Triple H. Man, Stephanie McMahon is going to be pissed.
They're in Utah, you know.
I'm glad we've found our way back to wrestling.
Of course, I mean, you knew it was going to happen. Next, I'm going to put Jay through a folding table.
You interject a lot more wrestling terms. I don't know why. I just feel like we need to start throwing it in there.
Dude, the closer we get to WrestleMania, the more y'all are going to have to hear me talk about wrestling. So strap in, bling blongs.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Okay.
I said I'm going to put you through a folding table?
You did say that. Well, we are sitting at a folding table.
This is a folding table. Everybody watch. No.
People can't really see the table. They can just see. I wanted them to see our pretty mics. But yeah, I'm okay, by the way, I'm okay with more wrestling talk. And
Ronda Rousey signed full time. I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
That is. Is it? Well, let me ask you a question. Is it still a big deal?
Absolutely. Even though she did lose her last two fights to Holly Holmes and whoever she lost her second fight to, those did major, just stupid numbers for the UFC. Like, and even the prelim fights they would show on Fox Sports leading up to it, those were all-time highs for the lead-in shows. So I mean, she is still a box office attraction. And plus, I mean, she shows up at the Royal Rumble, points at a sign like several times looking like an idiot. USA Today, ESPN, CBS, it's on, like mainstream
everywhere.
Is covering this, and that's exactly what they want when they bring in somebody like Ronda Rousey. And she's openly admitted she's been a fan of wrestling her entire life. So
well, yeah, she has that tie to Roddy Piper.
yeah, like, and she at the Royal Rumble, she came out in Hot Rod's jacket. That was Roddy Piper's jacket that his family gave to her after she passed away. I mean, she even got the nickname from him, Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm excited. I know a lot of wrestling fans are like, oh, well, it's not fair that she's just going to be inserted in the main event while, like, Sasha Banks and Bayley and Charlotte have put in this work. And it's like, they have put in this work. But at the same time, I still, like, what's the saying? Higher water rises all ships?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, I'm excited at the prospect.
Yeah. I think her brand was so much stronger like a couple years ago.
Oh, I do not disagree with that.
Oh yeah,
And
before she got her face melted.
Yeah, and the way she went down, not that just she lost, the way she lost, that did definitely take some of the luster off of her. But when she came out on Monday Night Raw with that look she would have whenever she's going to the octagon, that like I'm like
Locked
stone
in.
cold killer look, that translated amazingly to wrestling.
Yeah.
And when she picked up Triple H and put him through a table, that was one of the coolest moments like in wrestling in the last few years. Like I was watching it with the girlfriend, and she is hook, line, and sinker when it comes to Ronda at this point. So
Okay.
that's another reason
There
it's
you go.
good for WWE.
Appealing to the ladies.
It's bringing in the ladies. It's bringing in the casual fans.
Yeah.
So, like, I think this is a great business
Okay.
move for them.
Cool. And
Matt,
that'll
what do
wrap
you
up
think?
wrestling talk.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling time.
bit of near fall
I
review.
wonder what the
Ooh,
training
yeah.
regimen had to be. I mean, can you imagine how much you would have to change? You know, your whole workout, your whole training for wrestling, because the demands are higher. I think.
Hey,
and, you know,
oh, sorry. It looks like Jared says she is still a monster in my book.
Oh, there you go.
And he follows it up. She is in a perfect place for a redemption story. And Jared nails it
true.
exactly.
That's true. I'll accept that.
Yep. You hear that, Jared? Jay accepts it. So
if Dad says it's okay, you can do it.
no, but I'm excited, and they've announced she's going to be in a tag team match. Well, they haven't announced it, but it's looking like it's going to be a mixed tag match: Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania. So that's going to be a fun match, and
Yeah.
I cannot wait until Stephanie gets hers. Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
Is it bedtime?
Is it?
My son's making an appearance. Come give a hug. Love you, buddy.
That's our tech support, everybody.
This is Gummy Bear King on YouTube. I've been plugging his YouTube channel. He's right here. Do you have anything you want to say about your channel? No, he doesn't.
Like, follow, and subscribe.
That's right. We follow him. I think it's our only subscription. So if you go to Nerd News Cafe on YouTube, you can see that we're
Very true.
subscribed to Gummy Bear King. Matt, you had a rumor mill thing you wanted to get to. What was it?
Oh, I didn't know if you guys saw. You know, the Batfleck is stepping away from the singular movie.
Oh, is this an update on As the Batfleck Turns?
That's right.
As the Batfleck turns. Did you see who wants to be the Batman?
Me?
Was it Joaquin Phoenix?
No, Jake Gyllenhaal
Jake Gyllenhaal.
has thrown his hat in the ring.
I could be okay with that.
That's an interesting Batman.
I don't have it either way. I mean, he's done some amazing stuff. I don't really. He does Creeper real well, so I don't know how Batman translates.
You know,
but,
I'm so torn on people that should play Batman because Ben Affleck gives you kind of the imposing presence, right? Like he's a big dude, and he gives you that kind of presence that you might want to see physically from a Batman. My opinion was he is more of like the older, slower Batman, which for me it's cool, but it's not really my favorite Batman.
Very Dark Knight Returns type,
Yeah.
old school Batman.
I like the Christian Bale Batman, but you think about like somebody like Michael Keaton. It's not like he was a huge dude.
No.
He was probably Jake Gyllenhaal size
George Clooney wasn't jacked when he was Batman either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason they put him in that suit.
and gave him nipples.
So of course you got to put nipples on the GD bat suit.
And I guess Val Kilmer's not really a huge dude either. But
Well, he's huge
he's
now.
tall though.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, he's huge now.
Sorry.
I thought
Val.
Val Kilmer was like 6'4".
Oh, I have a perfect suggestion. If I'm talking about people that might have like an imposing presence, you're talking about people who got huge. Let's put Busta Rhymes in the suit. Let's do it. Have you seen him? Because he is ridiculously jacked now. That
Jacked.
dude is.
He's so jacked.
I have not
Watch
seen
the
Busta.
Doritos
He's busted
commercial.
out rhymes. I mean, there's nowhere to fit anything else.
That dude is huge.
What about this? Oh, sorry, Matt. Go ahead, dude.
No, I was just gonna say I'm kind of feeling I'd rather them go the direction of Flashpoint. I would rather see something new. For me, I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest Batman guy, so I would rather see something new.
Let's see a new story. Yeah,
what is
let's
it?
see something different. Thomas Wayne playing
Thomas
the
Wayne, yeah.
Batman.
That could
Yeah.
be interesting, though. I don't know how they would explain Thomas Wayne being the Batman and the rest of the DC universe hanging out with the Justice League and stuff like that.
No, it would just have to be like they have talkked about doing the Paradox story,
Okay.
and I would love to see that.
Yeah, couldn't you work it into maybe Suicide, Squad 2, some of the story into that, and then kind of filter it into the next Batman?
I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but let me throw this out here as somebody possibly to replace the Batfleck. At one point, he was signed on to be Batman when George Miller, Mad Max's George Miller was going to do his Justice League movie. What about Armie Hammer?
Armie Hammer would be interesting. I picture him as Lone Ranger, but you know what? We can set that aside and give him. This would be his redemption story.
It
because-
would. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you still look at Chris Evans as the Human Torch?
Right. I've totally forgotten.
Do you
that.
look at Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch? I
Yeah,
need to be
right.
the next Human
I
Torch.
think you should.
Wow, I'm going to be a huge Marvel star.
revolving door.
Exactly. As terrible as the Torch, but I am
I don't-
perfect for Puck. This is 2 weeks in a row I brought up Puck.
I'm looking at Armie Hammer here. Just some glamour shots. good Batman. I don't see a good Bruce Wayne in this guy.
It's hard.
He looks like he's
both.
gotten a little bit older. That it's taken away that boyish charm, and like I said, great looking Batman, I think. But as far as Bruce Wayne, you'd be like, that's someone's dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
just based off the the Google glamour shots here.
I had heard the rumor that Joaquin Phoenix was being mentioned as a potential Joker.
As a
I think he's
as a joke.
yeah, I don't know.
But the thing was, I think the tweet that I saw was that he was surprised to find that out. So
Well, I gotta say, like he is. I mean, he's not to the level of Daniel Day-Lewis and the late Heath Ledger. It turned out, like in the method acting of these roles, but it's like. If you remember, like his whole shtick he did after Walk the Line came out, he disappeared and he did this whole like almost Andy Kaufman-esque like performance art living type thing, and it's like Joaquin Phoenix might be crazy enough to pull the Joker off. So, I mean, and if you remember, it's like I've just mentioned him, Heath Ledger. What was the reaction when Heath Ledger was named as the Joker?
Right.
It's like
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
Jagweed from 10 Things I Hate About You. No, that is not the Joker. And then you watch
Knight's Tale? No.
Yeah, I should have gone with Knight's Tale.
God, what a weird movie Knight's Tale was.
That was a weird movie. It had Alan Tudyk
I'm
in
not
it
gonna lie. Have you guys taken a second watch on it recently?
The thing that always throws me off about that movie is the soundtrack. It's
too. Yep.
I didn't like it before. I'm kind of not against it now. Because it's kind of one of those movies I don't look too... I think at that time we had a craving for that medieval culture movie. And we got all we can handle with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and The Silmarillion or whatever else they're going to make out of that thing. 10 more movies out of it, I'm sure.
Just
We're
wait
gonna
for the
follow
Hobbit
Aaron
rap LP to
around
drop.
10 years. Yeah. But... at that time, you know, it's like, oh man, it's got AC/DC in my medieval movie. You know, I can't watch that. Click.
We're going to have Gregorian chants of Queen, y'all.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
It feels like a
okay.
spoof movie.
It's a
A
silly
little bit of
movie.
it, yeah. But exactly, Matt said it. It's a silly movie.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, whatever. Like,
But I
honestly,
like Heath Ledger.
yeah, I like Heath Ledger.
I mean, he for that movie makes it watchable for me.
Yeah.
And it had James Bond in it before it was James
Cast.
Bond.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right, Alan Tudyk in that one too. That he was good in that. There's a lot of good
good in
things. I have a lot of good things. I love that movie. That's a great movie. I'm gonna put it up there. That's one of my.
Honestly, you gotta love it. And there's a lot of movies I trash on, but that one I was like, I could watch it if it's on. It wouldn't bother me.
I've come
I
full
think it's
circle on
okay.
Oh, so remember when we were talking a lot of trash about King Arthur: Legend of the Sword and
No.
how
yes.
last year and how
I watched it.
it tanked. Well, it was on HBO and I happened.
It was at Audio Theater.
I was flipping through and I saw it was on and I stopped and I was like, well, let's watch this for a few minutes.
Ooh.
I thought I was watching the beginning of the movie, and it ended up being that it was like the last 10 minutes, and I was like, that's how this movie ends?
What a twist.
It's so weird how they ended it. Like I don't know, and I didn't see the rest of it, but I just remember seeing the previews and there were shots that looked like they did like a GoPro kind of a thing. Like I don't know.
It's hard to detach that guy because he's in Vikings,
Right. Yeah.
and it's hard to detach him from that role and see him as King Arthur. And it's like the Lady of the Lake, they might as well just be, Deus Ex Machina 2, because every time something goes wrong with this guy, she's like, I'll help you. He falls in a puddle at one point and gets sucked down to her, and she's like dragging him down. And I'm like, it was a mud puddle. I don't understand what's happening.
It's one of those medieval mud puddles, it's like 7 feet deep. It's deceptive.
Well, as they've come back from this weird, crazy LSD dream he had with her in the water, he comes out and he's got the sword out of the mud puddle. I was like, if we could just pull a sword out of a mud puddle at any point in time, what are we doing in this movie? I mean, I'm out there searching every little nook and cranny of dirt and water I can find for things. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a D&D nightmare for players.
Well, apparently what they were doing before the mud puddle, you said they were doing LSD, so that might be why they couldn't find the sword. They were tripping balls.
And the sad thing is, most of the cast look like they were the same people in Gladiator. I'm like, have these people just been like floating around like I will wear armor and carry swords.
It was
That's what
actually
I'm good
shot on the
for.
same set. They those extras have just been standing around since Gladiator wrapped, 20 years ago at this point. It's like, thank God you're here. Feed us.
It's not like those craft services keep showing up.
I wish Russell Crowe had gotten lost on the Gladiator set and never returned.
Yeah, he would just punch everybody there.
Yeah.
With his boat Tugger, fighting round the world with Russell Crowe. That's a great episode of South Park.
Jerry Kate wanted to throw his hat in the ring on a Batman. Charlie
Hunnam?
Hunnam?
Yeah, he was in Pacific Rim. That's what I know him
yeah,
from.
yeah, yeah.
I believe he was also
okay.
in Sons of Anarchy as well. I could see him pulling off Batman.
Yeah, that'd work. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, I just saw another trailer for Pacific Rim Uprising.
Oh, that's gonna be so good! Like,
Pretty excited about
like,
that.
It looks good.
I think it's
It
going
looks
to be a really
good.
dumb, stupid movie, but it's going to
Yeah.
be such a fun, stupid
cares?
movie. Oh my God, robots fighting
Robots,
monsters.
statues,
hells
gives
to
a
the-
crap.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm on board with John Boyega too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a John Boyega fanboy at this point.
it's like I'm bummed
He's
Idris
hot.
Elba isn't going to be back because I love Stringer Bell. He's the best villain ever, but John Boyega's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like him. Well, let's end on that.
He was
positive
also
note.
King Arthur too. Thanks, Jared.
Yeah, there you go.
See, this is what happens when people interact with us. You get mentioned on the show. We answer your questions, and we invite you to do that every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube.
Right. Join us in our janky little studios.
Do anyway.
And it'll be even more janky next week when I'm broadcasting with my laptop.
But I do like to
Rumba.
feature my artwork in the background here. We've got kind of an artistic Chewie. Look, it's in my hand. And then we have an artistic Yoda. I'm going to poke Landon in the eye doing this. But yeah. And then there's, Doctor Who. He's right there. Look at him. That's Matt Smith.
Enterprise is always in the background.
Yeah.
Always.
I try to feature nerdy things.
I put my D&D books up.
If you guys ever wondered what
Product placement.
our Star Trek Trivial Pursuit set looked like, here it is. It's a shuttle. There it is. Isn't that nice? I feel like I'm on QVC. You can get one of these if you call now in the next 15 minutes.
And this retails for $79.95, but I'm told we are going to do it for $49.95.
Whoa,
Hold on.
$49.95.
Frank, what?
I know. I'm going to take a loss on this. But
I can't. Have you lost your mind?
you know what? This right here needs to get out to the public. This would be the best Easter gift for your Aunt Ethel, okay?
Easter.
That was also another fun episode of South Park.
All right, guys. I think we've.
What did I derail the conversation, sweet?
No. I. It's just that now I'm out of topics, and as usual, I'm out of coffee and I'm out of words. So
Do you want me to keep doing my QVC?
You could
character?
do that for another hour and a half if you wanted to, but
Oh God, I gotta go to bed.
yeah, yeah.
Patreon. You say that for the Patreon.
Yeah, there we go. If we'll put it behind the Patreon wall. At the $10 level, we'll unlock the QVC guy, the show.
That'll work.
Yep.
And the reason, by the way, the reason I had the Trivial Pursuit here behind me is because I didn't know if we were going to have enough content to fill our hour. I don't know why I ever questioned that, but I thought we might get to some Trek Wars trivia. But just so people are aware, it's on the table. Trek Wars trivia is not gone, and there are going to be days where we're going to play some games. And so if you guys like the games, and I think people do, they have fun playing along.
Games are fun.
Yeah, we're going to make time for games in the future. So
Absolutely.
come back for that.
I love how you thought we weren't going to have enough to talk about. Like,
You told me you hadn't been paying attention to news this week.
yeah, but this is what happens when I sit in front of an open microphone. I just talk until I run out of stuff to say, and then
Right.
keep talking.
I know I should have known better.
Same.
Yep.
Well, if you'd like to follow along with the things that we do talk about on this show, you can do so on our Twitter account. That's at nerd_news_cafe. You can visit our Facebook fan page. You can visit our website, which needs to get updated. I noticed, I was thinking the other day that we need to do some of our movie reviews and
Yeah.
update that because we haven't done that in a while.
Oh yeah.
But we also have a forum.
Oh God.
Oh, God. I'm glad you threw that in. Oh, speaking of things we need to throw in, who else do I think falls into the Andy McDowell category? Oh, I've got one for you. Jessica Biel falls into that category for me.
Yes, and Calissa Flockhart.
But
Calista Flockhart is not an
no,
attractive
like
lady.
Skeletor. And what's wrong with Jessica
That's what
Biel?
I'm saying.
She's-
It's one, if you want to throw it in the category, I'm like,
Well, Jessica Biel's one of those that I think
she's a spare tire
sometimes
of
you
past.
sometimes you see her in some movies and you're like, what happened to Jessica Biel? And then other times it's like, hey, Jessica Biel's looking pretty good. So
I'd let her eat crackers in my bed.
I think she's a tweener. That's all.
A
I'm
tweener.
Saying. That's all I'm
so
saying.
she's not a face. She's not a heel. She's a tweener, and I
This
brought
is
it back to wrestling.
This is such a bad like sexist conversation. So apologies for that, but you can get more of that on our show if you like that feature as well. So I mentioned everything. We don't have a hotline that you can call, but maybe we'll set one of those up. So now
But feel free to call Matt at his personal phone number 865. No.
Yep. So
254-0011. I read a book every week.
that'd be cool.
It's-
Call in and listen to Matt
It's
read.
the library hotline.
So, parents, if you want your child to have a bedtime story read, but you don't want to read or you can't, just call Matt and he'll read a story to your kid.
Oh, last thing, subscribe to our YouTube because you will get notifications when we go live. I mean, if you can't remember yourself that every Thursday, 9 p.m., you can come to YouTube and see our smiling faces live, then you could get your reminders and even if you don't watch them live, you can go back and watch them. This is a way for you to get the content early, though, because sometimes I get lazy and I don't just port it over to the iTunes feed.
Jared Cates offering relationship advice. That's another reason why you need to be in the YouTube channel. I don't know if he's
Or is
actually
he asking us for relationship advice?
I don't know, but
Go to a bar.
you need to go into the YouTube chat to find out.
That's right. Yeah, and we love the interaction. So thank you, Jared, Kate.
And Jared, my relationship advice to you
thanks,
is
Jared.
just be yourself.
That's there you go.
I think he's married. I don't know.
Okay.
Go to a bar.
All right. You all can do your plugs now.
All right, Matt, go.
Trek Wars trivia. No, I'm just kidding.
All
I
right,
don't know
take
why I
two.
said that. I was thinking about it. I have this idea I'm trying to hang on to. No, Trek podcast. The season's finished, and so are we talking about it. But you can always go back and listen to us and catch up on the series. You can catch up for $6. You too can binge watch Star Trek Discovery because you don't have to pay those high premiums. You just pay the $6, and you can watch a little bit Big Bang if you get bored. But catch up on our show, catch up on that show. We're going to do some fun things coming up. We are going to watch the first movie, Star Trek, with the Shat, and I'm going to get the reactions from Thomas. He has never seen anything ever in Star Trek except for Chris Pine. So
Yeah,
we're going to see how that goes.
That'll be
and,
interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a fun experiment.
it will be. I thought so myself. So that's why he's on there, and because he has no concept of what's going on. So that'll be fun. That's what we got planned coming up. Not sure when it's going to come out, but like I said, we have got enough episodes for you to keep yourself busy until we do drop something. So if you want to have a suggestion, maybe of what you thought of the season or what you think of the movie we're going to watch, at Trekking Trek Pod, and good to go.
Twitter.com/Landoz, LANDOZ. That's where you can find the latest from me, 280 characters at a time. It's where I also post updates about my website, Buttmunchchips, buttmunchchips.com.
You're supposed to say butt much chips. You didn't do the cue right. Say it again. Butt much chips.
Really? You're telling me how to do my...
Do it again. Cue me.
Buttmunchchips.
Sit on your butt.
And you munch.
I'm recording in hostile
I'm
conditions.
a professional. I need the appropriate cue.
I am unprofessional.
Motherfucker. That
I
is where
would
you
do
can
it on
find the
demand.
exclusively posted Game of Thrones Talk, a.k.a. Got Talk, where myself and Hunter Reese, we break down each episode of HBO's award-winning series Game of Thrones. We have a complete run of Season 7. We are patiently awaiting the return of Season 8 in 2019, so we're going to be waiting patiently for a while. So in the meantime, we have the Buttmunchchips Variety Pack, where, again, myself and Hunter Reese talk about a variety of things, and the latest episode we have is the breakdown of Justice League, Thor Ragnarok, and the year that was in comic book movies last year. And I have a feeling Hunter and I will be talking about the Black Panther soon, so keep an eye out on buttmunchchips.com. Once again, Buttmunchchips.
Sit on your butt.
You munch.
Also want to shout out the good brother Will Rabb. I do hits with him on his show Off the Bench on WCDT in Franklin, Tennessee. You can listen live online, WCDTradio.com.
Yeah. This is the real professional sitting beside me right here. I'm giving him
Yeah.
advice on how to cue somebody for a line. And
If I'm a real professional, please somebody give me a real professional paycheck.
you have been paid to be a voice on the radio.
Yeah.
You have been. So that qualifies you. So why aren't you bringing in your audience into this show, by the way?
I saw the numbers
Yeah.
on the show I was on. I think I did bring in the audience.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Phil. Love you, buddy. No, we were actually doing really good when I got let it go. Anyway.
Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in tonight if you did, and thanks for listening sometime in the future if you choose to do that.
And thanks to Jared Kate.
Thank you, Jared Kate, for interacting.
Yeah, man.
Really do
Matt's going to
appreciate
send
it.
you a prize this week.
Oh, looking forward to that. Who knows what it'll be.
Matt's like, what the am I doing?
But come back again next week. I will be out of town next Thursday, so I don't know that we'll do a live show unless you guys want to hook it up, but we'll talk about that later. Otherwise, we'll do a recording at some other time and put that out. So you'll still get some content. It just we may not have a live show next Thursday. Just warning you. But if you subscribe to our YouTube, you will find out when the next live show is. So thanks again for listening. We really appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
In transmission.
No, you got to end the transmission.
I intercepted his outline. Awesome.
You did.
You did it you didn't do it good.
And now look at my Inception screen, everybody, while I try to struggle to stop the stream. Bye-bye.